An earthquake measured at 6.0 has struck Istanbul in Turkey. Our correspondent there, Orla Gurin, says buildings have been shaken today.
There was a powerful 6.2 magnitude earthquake that shook parts of Turkey today, one of the strongest earthquakes to impact this area in recent years, according to officials.
Istanbul is sitting on a ticking clock, and it's not in theory, but in measurable geological fact. The North Anatolian Fault beneath the Sea of Marmara, the only western segment left unruptured over the past century, is locked, loaded, and statistically overdue for a magnitude 7+ earthquake that could devastate a city of 16.4 million people. Right now, the seismic pressure builds. The main Marmara Fault hasn't produced a major earthquake since 1894. Written records in the region go back more than 2,000 years and suggest an average repeat time of about 250 years for large quakes. The last large earthquake in the region took place in 1766. That was 260 years ago, and the fault is marching eastward toward the city. The epicenters and ruptures of magnitude 5+ earthquakes, including the 2025 magnitude 6.2 event, have generally migrated from west to east, as have their aftershock sequences, breaching formerly quiet fault segments in what looks like a steady march toward a city of 18 million people. Before we break down exactly what happens when Istanbul has two active fault lines, Kumburgaz and Adalar, that if broken simultaneously could unleash a catastrophic 7.5 magnitude earthquake, why the section of the fault closest to Istanbul is locked and storing energy while parts to the west slip slowly, what occurred when the 1999 Izmit earthquake killed 17,127 people with a magnitude 7.4 event, and why buildings on the Anatolian side carry 40% risk while the European side carries 60% risk. Make sure you subscribe. Because what is building beneath Istanbul right now is not a possibility. It is a geological certainty counting down to an unknown hour. First, understand the fault system threatening Istanbul, because the mechanics are terrifying. The main Marmara Fault is part of the North Anatolian Fault system, which has produced devastating earthquakes throughout Turkish history. The North Anatolian Fault is a great 1,000-kilometer-long strike-slip fault that defines the tectonics of northern Turkey, separating the Eurasian plate to the north from the Anatolian plate to the south. Each year, the Anatolian plate moves about 2 centimeters westward compared to the Eurasian plate. The main Marmara Fault poses the highest seismic risk in broader Europe. The Sea of Marmara, south of the 16 million metropolis of Istanbul, hosts the boundary between the Eurasian and Anatolian tectonic plates, and the fault behavior is segmented in alarming ways. New research from USC shows that variations in underground temperature and sediment thickness segment the main Marmara Fault in ways that control where earthquakes start, how far they spread, and where they stop. Using physics-based simulations that model more than 10,000 years of seismic activity, researchers found that the fault is unlikely to rupture in a single, catastrophic event. Instead, it will likely break in segments, with maximum earthquake magnitudes reaching about 7.3. This is the fault architecture. Now shift to what scientists observe happening right now. The western Ganos and Tekirdağ segments produce more regular earthquakes, including magnitude 7.2 events recurring roughly every 150 years. The eastern segments, Kumburgaz and Prince's Islands, generate smaller, more frequent earthquake doublets, typically between magnitude 6.2 and 6.8, roughly every 100 years, and a magnitude 7.0 earthquake, roughly every 500 years. And here is where the danger intensifies. Dr. Naci Gurur, a prominent expert with 45 years of experience, has issued dire warnings about Istanbul's seismic future. Istanbul has two active fault lines, Kumburgaz and Adalar. If the Kumburgaz fault breaks alone, it could produce a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. The Adalar fault, breaking alone, could reach a magnitude of 7.0. If both break simultaneously, they could unleash a catastrophic 7.5 magnitude earthquake. The locked segments of the main Marmara Fault on both sides have now gone more than 100 years without a major rupture. If these segments follow the patterns observed in simulations, the region may experience major earthquakes in the coming decades. Here is where the fault's eastward progression becomes critical. Researchers analyzed recent seismic patterns near the locked zone and noticed a pattern in rupture propagation since 2011. The epicenters and ruptures of magnitude 5+ earthquakes, including the 2025 magnitude 6.2 event, have generally migrated from west to east, breaching formerly quiet fault segments in what looks like a steady march toward a city of 18 million people. German researchers say earthquakes of magnitude 5 and above have moved east since 2011, ending closer to the locked section south of the city. Parts of the fault to the west are slipping slowly, while the section closer to Istanbul is locked, meaning it is not sliding and is storing energy. A rupture initiation in a transition region between creeping and locked areas would have a stronger impact on the neighboring locked areas of the fault. A rupture at the central eastern Marmara Sea creeping section would cause the rupture to propagate eastward towards Istanbul, which would result in stronger ground motion there and thus a higher seismic risk. Let's state the compound risk plainly. Istanbul's mega-quake threat sits at the intersection of 6 seismic realities converging on one of the world's largest cities. The historical pattern is clear. Written records going back more than 2,000 years suggest an average repeat time of about 250 years for large quakes, with the last large earthquake occurring in 1766, 260 years ago. The fault is locked and loading. The section closest to Istanbul is locked, meaning it is not sliding and is storing energy, while researchers found that below the western Sea of Marmara, most tectonic energy is released by slow aseismic creep. But towards the east, the fault is completely locked immediately south of Istanbul. The eastward migration continues. Earthquakes have migrated from west to east since 2011, breaching formerly quiet fault segments in a steady march toward the city. The dual fault scenario exists. If both the Kumburgaz and Adalar faults break simultaneously, they could unleash a catastrophic 7.5 magnitude earthquake. The probability is high. Separate earthquake probability studies have estimated a 35% chance of a magnitude 7.3 or larger earthquake near Istanbul in a 30-year period, rising to 47% in models that include time dependence and stress transfer. And the population exposure is massive. Istanbul's 2026 population is estimated at 16,419,100, with recent estimates suggesting the population exceeds 16 million. The 1999 Izmit earthquake provides the template for catastrophe. Striking near Istanbul with a magnitude of 7.6, the quake caused over 17,000 confirmed deaths and displaced hundreds of thousands. The 1999 Izmit earthquake killed 17,127 people according to official estimates. Stories of survivors recall chaos, with fires breaking out, looting in devastated neighborhoods, and families desperately searching for loved ones trapped beneath rubble. Many waited days for rescue teams that never arrived. And the 1999 earthquake struck a less densely populated area, underscoring the potential devastation that a similar event could inflict on Istanbul. The building stock amplifies the danger. Buildings on the Anatolian side of Istanbul carry a risk of 40%, and the buildings on the European side have a risk of 60%. Istanbul's older infrastructure and dense population make it particularly vulnerable to the severe consequences of such an earthquake. And recent seismic activity keeps the pressure building. The 2025 magnitude 6.2 event was the largest earthquake along the main Marmara Fault in more than 60 years. The April 23, 2025, magnitude 6.2 Marmara Sea earthquake occurred on the northern branch of the North Anatolian Fault zone. Only the 2025 magnitude 6.2 event ruptured a section of the main trace of the North Anatolian Fault zone. The eastern portion of the fault segment likely experienced a stress increase after the April 2025 event. Both of these factors have likely increased the already high risk in the Istanbul metropolitan area. Scientists are blunt about the timeline. Neotectonics and earthquake specialist Professor Dr. Haluk Selim stated that the expected Istanbul earthquake could occur until 2026. Looking at historical periods, if you consider only the eastern Marmara, when we sum up the periods and consider this a little broader, a picture emerges as if the fault will break until 2026. Professor Marco Bonhoff from the German Research Center for Geosciences explains, Experts agree that we can expect a strong earthquake in the immediate vicinity of the city of Istanbul in the near future. The assessment is derived from several earthquakes in Istanbul's history, ongoing continental drift beneath the Marmara Sea, and the fact that an area of the fault zone showing no seismic activity is located directly off the gates of Istanbul. The earthquake reignited concerns about Istanbul's preparedness for major seismic events. Experts warn that the North Anatolian Fault is due for a potentially larger earthquake, exceeding magnitude 7.0, with an annual probability of about 2% to 3%. The historical record reinforces the danger. Due to the long settlement history in Asia Minor, and in particular in the Istanbul area, there are extensive historical records of earthquakes covering at least the last 2 millennia. The 1509 earthquake, famously known as the Little Apocalypse, devastated vast sections of the city, killing tens of thousands and toppling countless buildings, including portions of the city walls. Istanbul exists in a seismic gap, a section of active fault that has not ruptured in over a century, while sections on either side have released their accumulated stress. The main Marmara Fault south of Istanbul is referred to as a seismic gap. A very strong earthquake with a magnitude greater than 7 is overdue there. 16 million people. 2 fault lines capable of producing magnitude 7+ earthquakes. A 260-year gap since the last major rupture. A 47% probability within 30 years. Eastward earthquake migration since 2011. A locked fault section storing energy directly beneath the city. And buildings where 40 to 60% carry structural risk. The findings don't reduce Istanbul's earthquake risk. Moderate to large earthquakes occurring closer to the city or in rapid succession could still cause catastrophic damage. Marco Bonhoff resumes. The study provides a differentiated picture of the dynamics of plate motion at a critically strained fault in close proximity to a megacity. The scenarios derived from this study for the impending Istanbul earthquake are essential for a better risk assessment of the region. The clock ticks. The fault locks. The pressure builds. And 16 million people live directly above the inevitable. Stay tuned.